My name is Mark Sharpe, and I'm with the Tampa Innovation Partnership, which is a group near the University of South Florida. I'm a native of Hillsborough County, born in MacDill. I was born, a smattering of applause. Okay, I was born in MacDill. I served at MacDill. I was in the Navy for 20 years. I was in the Navy for 20 years. Served at U.S. Central Command, served at Special Operations Command. I was in Intel, Navy Intel. But I wanted to be part of something world-changing. I wanted to change the world. So when I was in Washington, I decided I was going to come back home and run for Congress. And this was in the 90s, yes. Someone said nuts. Yes, it was nuts. The young man nailed it. All right, so I make this decision, though, that I'm going to create my own startup. I don't have any backing. I don't have any money. I don't have any name recognition, but I come back to the community because I cared. I love Tampa Bay. And ran against a 30-year incumbent, Sam Gibbons. And we built this organization from the ground up. Most of the people who worked with me were liberals. I ran as a Republican. Half the people didn't even know I was a Republican. Some of the people, when they found out, they were sobbing and crying. They thought that I was a Democrat. And I'm like, no, 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 it's okay. At least back then it was okay. But we're you know, it's, you know, you don't need any counseling. I am not evil. We're going to change, but we're going to change the world. And I ran not once, not twice, but 3 consecutive times. Came fairly close to my second race. Got blown out by Jim Davis. You know Jim? Jim Davis, who then turned it over to Kathy Castor. She's our congresswoman now. So I lost, but I learned about serving in my community and came back and I ran for county commission 8 years later. Took some time off, decided I wanted to get back in and really make a difference. And I joined a very interesting board. We had a professional wrestler, Brian Blair. We had Jim Norman. We had Rhonda Storms. We had Kathy Castor. But it was always a show. It was always like a lot of theater. But at the same time, there was a lot of very important things that we did. And one of them was I wanted to see Tampa Bay become the center of tech. You know, I remember when Tampa got its football team in '76. And Seattle got their football team in '76, and we kind of snickered and laughed and said, Seattle, who are those guys? You know, and now you look at Seattle's economy, and you know, it's soaring. And when I would look at these rankings, as a commissioner, I'd read the rankings. Tampa was always like, you know, ranked in the 30, when you looked at top ecosystems for startups, we weren't there. You know, metros with tech talent, we weren't there. And I started reading books. In fact, I got the books lined up behind me. You should read them if you haven't. As a commissioner, I said, okay, I want to learn how do you build a tech community. And so Rise of the Creative Class, Richard Florida, fabulous book. Richard came and spoke at one of our events in 2016. Right next to that, The New Geography of Jobs. And you can't see the map, but I could see the map when I bought the book. And it talks about how jobs chase talent. So where is the talent? And just like the rankings were telling me, there were no dots on the cover of this map anywhere south of Atlanta. You wouldn't see it. Tampa just didn't, you know, we didn't rank. Next to it, The Metropolitan Revolution, which is a fabulous book by Bruce Katz. He worked for Brookings. He wrote the program for how you become an innovation district. Fabulous, fabulous book. He came down, he spoke, he talked to us about how we as a community can do what we're doing here right now. And then the final book, which I'm going to talk about at the end, the Jumpstarting America book, which just came out about 4 or 5 months ago. The books kind of led me into a direction. The rankings told me we were not doing very well. In fact, in 2009, Milken, which does an annual ranking of the best performing cities for job creation, ranked Tampa Bay, so we all get to take credit for this one, 169th. 169th. So I call in our director of the Economic Development Corporation at a board meeting, and I'm like, what are we going to do about this? And he kind of jokingly said, we're going to quit reading the rankings. And he's looking at me. And it was kind of like my kids telling me, you're going to quit asking me about my grades because there's a million reasons why the grades are the way they are. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to accept that. You know, I understand, getting the 5-minute mark, I understand that There are many good reasons why we perhaps aren't a top 10, but there's no excuse for us not being a top 10. So I committed myself to being a top 10, and that's where I got to meet people like Ken Evans, Tracy Ingram, Joy Randall. I went from reading to drinking. Coffee. I hope you all drink. You guys got to be drinking some more, because these speakers, we're going to have some amazing speakers. I started drinking lots of coffee. Yes, great speakers. So at Buddy Brew, that's where I go. You guys go to Kawa. I go to Buddy Brew. I'm at Buddy Brew. We're sitting there drinking coffee. And Ken comes up to me kind of like, and I will use the Morpheus matrix. He goes, Mark, we've been doing these meetings, having these little podcasts. He goes, Mark, if you really truly want to see the truth, you must take the red pill. And I'm like, the red pill? He goes, if you want to believe your beautiful prison, continue taking the blue pill. And literally, and Joel used to chase after me and say, what's wrong with you? You're trying to steal someone else's company. You're not going to build the ecosystem. You think you become great by bringing, I thought I'd bring a Google or a Facebook here. He goes, you're not going to do it. You got to build the ecosystem. And Ken's message to me was, build the ecosystem. And I will conclude rapidly by saying Hillsborough County and Pinellas got the message. Hillsborough County, they got the message. They listened. I mean, these guys would come to our board meetings and really kind of rail at us, and I would have the economic development team going, who are these guys? They're crazy. I'm like, these crazy guys are the people who are going to change the world. Quit chasing after the old guys who play golf and taking them to dinner to bring in the company and give them the tax break. Stop that. Build it. So we created what we call the Economic Development Innovation Initiative, EDI2, put some money into it. We created an ECC. And Lynn, where's Lynn Marvin? Lynn's here, right here. She runs the Economic Collaborative Center right in Ybor. Hillsborough County helped fund it. Just as Pinellas County now is funding your Tampa Bay Innovation Center for Tanya Elmore. So I think, which is awesome. Tanya over there. Yes. So the county started getting involved. I left office. My wife said, time to get a real job, time to stop playing in politics. You really want to change the world, do something special. Took a job as the director of this district, working now with a guy, Chris Bowen, raise your hand. Chris Bowen is the director of a program to take this old, if any of you ever been to the University Mall near USF, a few of you must have gone there. Okay, the young man again, this guy, he's around. So that mall, man, it's rough, but it's not going to be rough anymore, because now the county is partnering with our private industry, partnering with DOD on a great project called the Institute of Applied Engineering, and yesterday Hillsborough County put forward $5 million, matching USF's $5 million, to create an innovation institute that's going to go at the mall. That mall is not going to be a mall anymore. It's going to be a research village right next to USF. We're going to create an ecosystem where innovation thrives. And we're going to light a fire, just like you're going to light it tonight. We got 20 amazing speakers. One of them, James Waugh. James Waugh did a hackathon we had with AccuSoft that we did back in 2016 called Give Me Shelter. We came up with a software application that has actually been adopted by the Tampa Hillsborough Homeless Initiative and is being used. We came up with something of value. And that's, so you're going to hear James, you're going to hear John Flanagan from CareerSource. James, you're over there. That's James. He rocks. And he stayed up for 3 straight days. I thought hackathons were about, you eat a lot of pizza, a lot of crappy food. Do we serve alcohol, James? I can't remember. I don't think we served alcohol. We wanted to be sane. We drank coffee. But it was really, we made a difference. And what's going on at the University Mall that's going to become Uptown now? What's happening? We got our partners, Yingling, now bringing in hotels, and we're going to have conference centers. We are turning the university area around. We're going to unite to ignite. And I will tell you, it's important that as Tampa Bay, we all quit the fighting, stop the division, come together. We can compete, but at the same time, if we unite, I'm certain there's no region in this nation that can compete with us. And tonight you're going to hear 20 ideas, I call them sparks, that I think are going to help ignite Tampa Bay. So I want you to give them a big round of applause, cheer them, scream and holler, have a good time. This is awesome. You guys are awesome, and I haven't even had any beer yet. Rock and roll. See ya.